Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm just gonna take you on a brief journey through one of the processes I take while I'm editing my photos after a photo shoot. And here's a picture that I have here from one of my photo sessions. I'm just gonna take you through a journey showing you how I go about retouching the skin and maybe do a little dodge and burn, and that will be it. So I'm inside an application called Affinity Photo. It's where I do pretty much all my editing. If you are used to, say, a program like Photoshop, then Affinity Photo looks pretty similar to Photoshop, except the icons are a bit more animated. So to begin, I'm gonna go ahead and start here by duplicating my layer. And the reason for me duplicating the layer is so I can do a before and after, or if I make a mistake I can easily go back and delete the layer. So we begin. Okay, I duplicate the layer first. Let me start over so you can see what I did. I'll right click on the layer and I will duplicate, or you can select on your keyboard Ctrl J if you're using a Windows laptop or desktop. Once I duplicated the layer, I'm going to separate the frequencies. Okay, and once the frequency is separated, I'll explain. The high frequency represents the texture of the skin or the photograph, and the low frequency would represent the color. So if you want to make adjustments to the color, then you would select the low frequency. If you want to make adjustments to the texture of the photograph, then you would select the high frequency. So I'm going to go ahead, zoom in a bit more. I'm going to look at the changes that I would like to make to the skin to make it better. She has pretty nice skin, but we will go ahead and just adjust some minor blemishes that can be found. So I'll continue while selecting my low frequency, selecting my healing brush tool, which is located on the left hand side of the panel, and then I will make sure the opacity is at 30%, the flow is at 100, and my hardness is at 0. I'll select an area on the skin that I like, and then I will just go ahead and paint over whatever blemishes or so that can be found here on the skin. And as you can see, while I'm painting over the blemishes, they become less and less visible. At the same time, I don't want to overdo it, so that's why I make sure that my opacity is pretty low, because I don't want her to look plasticky when my retouching is finished. I want to make sure that she still has a nice texture, a nice natural texture to her skin. Alright, I'll just go ahead and speed it in here. And good. That is great. I'm happy with that. Next, I'll select her cheek. And I'll go ahead, I'll do my little retouching here on her cheek, making sure I have a selection area that is pretty close to the area that I'm working, so that the skin tone color isn't off. I'll move my selection area again, since I'm working now on the nose. I like the little highlight here that comes down her nose. It gives her nose a bit of definition, so I'll keep it. I won't erase it. And I'll do pretty much the same here in this area. I'll move to the other cheek. This cheek has some bright highlights on it that is not on the other cheek, so I'm just gonna go over it and try to get rid of the highlights as well. I'll do a little bit under her eyes to get rid of any wrinkles. I don't want to get rid of all of it, just a little, because as I said, I want things to still look pretty natural. If you notice, I switched over to the high frequency to just change the texture of her skin to match the texture I want. I'll go back to the low frequency once more, and I'll just go over this area one more time just to make sure that the color shade in her skin is matching. Good. Then I'll move to the forehead, and I'll do pretty much the same. I'll move my selection area to a point that I can work from. Make sure that the colors are matching. Make sure the skin color is matching, I should say, and I'll just go over it like so. I'll continue to paint over it until I'm happy with the look I'm getting. Now I'll switch over to my high frequency, because here there's just there was some hair that comes down on her face. I just want to use a high frequency to get rid of the extra hair in the area there. Move the selection point a bit closer here, and I'll do the same while I'm still on the high frequency. I'll go back to the low frequency, and I'll just do some retouching on the side of her face here. Not too much, just light work. Alright, good. Next, I'm going to group this layer, the high frequency and the low frequency. I'll group them both by pressing Ctrl G, and if I turn it off and on, I'll zoom in a bit. If I turn it off and on, you can see the difference made in what I just did. But I'm still not done. I want to do a little bit more retouching on the face, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the group by pressing Ctrl J on the keyboard if you're using Windows desktop or laptop. And I'm going to rasterize this layer by right clicking on it and selecting the rasterize option, and it turns it back into a pixel layer once I rasterize it. When it's rasterized, I'm going to go over here and select on the panel on my left. I'm going to open up the drop down menu here and select the painting brush. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just going to go over some areas with the painting brush here just to make everything perfect, or at least to the way I want it. Use the painting brush to do more detailed work. So you get in closer, a little bit more detail work with the painting brush. Any thing that is out of place in the hair and so forth, so you'd use the painting brush to get rid of those, or on the skin. And I'll continue to do that until I feel happy with it. Any extra hair that is in the way of her face and being distracting, and get rid of those. Alright, that's pretty much it. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the look, and we can go again and turn it off and on, off and on. This is basically for your purpose, just to show you the process, so I won't go too much into details, but this is how I go about with my editing process when I'm working. Alright, I'll go in, I zoom in a little bit as well. Make sure that the pixel layer here is selected. That was where I'll rename it as well. And in painting, it's good to rename the layers just so that you can go back if you need to and double check if you make a mistake somewhere to see where you need to correct. Alright, I want to make her teeth a bit brighter because she has a very nice smile, So I want to make sure the smile is highlighted and her eyes as well. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to do a little dodge and burn. Now I'm going to take you through the dodge and burn process. First, I'll select or create an empty pixel layer. I'll change the blend mode from normal to overlay. Then I'm going to select my colors. And you'll see here, you can, on this side of the panel, you can measure the grayscale.